Let's talk about what we need to make this beautiful Beckett bag. First, we are going to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Now I know this seems small, but there's a reason for it. We want to make the fabric dense, more like a canvas, and when you use a bulky number 6 and a combination of this 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, you will do just that. Next is our yarn, and that is Lion Brand Respun Thick and Quick. And there are 223 yards in a skein, and this color is Pumice Stone. You will need 3 of these. You will need 5 stitch markers, a tape measure, bent yarn needles, a bent yarn needle. These are my favorite ones. I just love this little container. A yarn needle threader, a pair of sharp scissors. And again, I love these necklace scissors. Never lose your scissors again with those. And finally, yes, a ring counter or a row counter of some sort. This is my favorite. Everybody knows this. If you've seen my other videos before, I wouldn't know what to do without it. And I'll have all these things listed in the description box below the video. All right, are you ready to get started on this beautiful bag? Look at that. It's so pretty. Let's go. I'm going to show you guys one thing. On the final measurements of the written pattern, I'm sure people want to know how I derived that. Well, I am looking at this bag as if it were flat. If it had something in it, it doesn't right now. It's just folded, and that's why there's a bump here. But we're going to measure from here to here, which is 14 inches, and then across the widest part, which is about 20. So our bag is 14 by 20. It is a substantial bag. As I've said before, you could totally use this as a yarn tote, because imagine you've got your yarn in there, you pull it through here, and that keeps your project all nice and neat. And when you're traveling in the car or whatever, it's the perfect solution for moving around your project to different locations. Let's crochet the perfect circle in a spiral. Let's learn how to crochet a perfect spiral circle. Now, I'm doing this because this is part of the pattern for my Beckett bag. So I figured I would just also give you guys just a separate video for those that just want to know how to crochet a placemat or something like that. This is how you'll do it. So you're going to make your slip knot, and then please chain loosely, not super loosely, but loosely, just like this, 2. Now, you're going to go into the first chain, and you're going to put 6 single crochets into that first chain. So we have 2, and we've got 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, there we go. But I want to make sure that we're getting into that first stitch. So here we've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So right there, that is our first single crochet stitch. Until we get the tail under control, it always looks like there's an extra stitch there. So now we are going to single crochet 1 time. That's our first stitch. Grab your stitch marker, and you're definitely going to want some type of row counter. We just completed one. I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. But this is massively important because it's going to tell you where you're at with your increases and everything. So we've put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and now we're going to put another one into that first stitch. All right. Next stitch, 2 single crochets. And so for all 12 stitches, I want you to put 2 single crochets into each of the original 6 stitches. And that will give us at the end 12. We're actually increasing by 2. So we started out with 6, and now we're going to work our way to getting 12 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep, 9, 10, and 11, and 12. We just finished round 2. Now, if you notice, I am not single crochet or slip stitch, single crochet, all that stuff. No. The last thing that you want, in my opinion, in a bag or even in a placemat is this unsightly seam that it is created when we slip stitch the first to the last stitch of the round that we're working on, and then we chain 1, and then we go back into it. Just this thing is just, I'm sorry, it's hideous. I don't know who invented that, but I guess I'm too particular to do something like that. So here we just keep working in a spiral. Now when we're done, what's going to happen though is we're going to have where the first stitches and then the last stitch, there's going to be a little bit of a height difference, but we're going to address that the easiest way and I'm going to teach you that little hack. It's just super simple to get rid of that little bump. All right, now we're going to work into round 3, and round 3 is just a single crochet into the first stitch. And yes, immediately put that marker in there, guys. This is one thing. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to do 2 things. You're going to have to really keep track of your rounds, and whether you have a ring row counter or whether you just use a tally sheet on the side, that's entirely up to you. But these 2 things have to be consistent, and you have to perform them every time. Otherwise, you'll lose count, you'll rip out, and you'll start over so many times. I can't even tell you how ridiculous it starts to become after a while. So the first stitch is a single crochet stitch. Into the second stitch, we're going to increase, and we're doing that by simply crocheting 2 single crochet stitches, just like we did before. And now you can see I'm going to pull this round tighter, that I'm going to pull my tail tighter, so that that is the same as a magic ring without the hassle of making a magic ring. Okay, so we've done 1 single crochet and we've done 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So this is the pattern. It's a single crochet and 2 single crochets. And that is how we're going to continue all the way around. And that'll put us at the end of round 3. Now, crochet math for circles is very simple. And I'm watching what I'm doing here because the last thing I want to do is like not get enough stitches, because I hate that. But crochet math is, like I said, is super, super simple. It's just with doing it this way to make the flat circle, you increase each round by the first number of stitches that you have. In other words, the OG, the original count of stitches that you started with, you're increasing. If you do it this way, you're increasing that each round by that many stitches. So we're always going to increase by 6 stitches for this particular pattern, because this is a beginner pattern. It's super, super easy. All right, so here we go. And I can see where, yeah, you got to pay attention. So I know I'm talking and I'm thinking, okay, I can do this, but realistically, this does require attention. Laying down the increase rounds is not something that you can do if you're going to be distracted. I can't tell. I know it seems silly that that's the way that it is, but it is what it is. You just got to focus. All right. So our previous round had 12 stitches. So I said before, in crochet math for circles, we are going to increase when we're doing the pattern that we're doing by 6 stitches. So we just completed round 3, and therefore we should have 18 stitches. So let's count and make sure Janet did it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Perfect. 18 stitches. Now, the next round, we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then into the next stitch, and then we're going to increase into the next stitch. So how we make the circle is however big we want it, and you'll see when we get it going, you just take your measurement. That's how you determine how big you want it. If you're making a placemat, for example, this is a really good pattern to do that, and I will probably have a round placemat pattern coming up. I'm going to give it a little more of a texture than just a single crochet. But for those of us that are like minimalists, this is the way to go, this single crochet business. So let's go into round 4, and we're going to do round 4 together, and after that I'm going to turn you loose. So we've got our first stitch of round 4, and we're marking that. And now, instead of going 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets over 2 stitches. So single crochet into the first stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets. And that is our pattern. So at the beginning of this round, round 4, we had a total of 18 stitches. Now we're going to take 18 and we're going to add 6 to that, and that will give us a total of 24 stitches. So again, our pattern around is just single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And this is how we go all the way around. And it's really, once you get the hang of it, it is very easy. But like I said, when you get going into these larger numbers where we're going to go up to, I can't remember, but we're going to do 15 rounds. So we're going to end up with 90 stitches total for our bag. I'm not going to take that this far. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, because it's just something that you just have to sit down and do, you know, without, I don't have to show you every single round. That would be like too long of a video. I don't think anybody would pay attention to that, but I'm going to give you the formula so that you know exactly how to get to where we're going. So again, right now we're crocheting 2 and then 2 crochets for the increase into the next stitch. So that would be over 3 stitches. So here we are. That's our last stitch. We just did 2 single crochets, and now we're going to do 2 single crochets for the increase into the last stitch. All right, now we should have 24 stitches, and we're going to count that, and then I'm going to walk you through how to finish this, and for the Beckett bag, get it up to 90 stitches, and then I'll show you after that, if you just want to make a placemat, how the finishing options, what those would be. Okay, so now we're going to go into the first stitch of round 5. And we had 24 stitches total in this round, and now we should have, after we complete round 5, we will have 30 stitches. So here's how this works. Round 4, we did single crochet into the first stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that was our pattern all the way around. Now we are going to go single crochet into the first 3 stitches, and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Let me make sure that I did that right. 1, 2, 3, yes. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. All right, now you're going to continue doing that all the way around, and you will have, as long as you've done it right, and I know you will have 30 single crochet stitches in this round. Now going forward, as I said before, I want you to do 15 rounds total for the Beckett bag. If you're just making a placemat, just go ahead and keep increasing. And how you do that is this. The first row was just 6 stitches. The second row was an increase in each stitch, so that gave us 12. The third row was single crochet into the first stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So now the next round was 2 single crochets into the first 2 stitches, single crochet into the next stitch. The next round is 3 single crochets into the first 3 stitches, 2 single crochets, and then 3 single crochets, 2 single crochets. So keep working that all the way around until you get to 15 rows, and that will be 90 stitches. And that would probably be maybe a couple rounds shy of, you know, a placemat. I would probably want mine a little bit bigger than that, but it depends on how you want it. But for the Beckett bag, you need to have 15 rounds of the pattern, which is, you know, which continues along and gets you to 90 stitches. So we'll meet back and I'll see you soon. Yay, 15 rows are complete, and that means we have 90 stitches all the way around. And the reason for that is because 15 times 6 is 90. Now I want to talk about another little hack that you should know that might help, especially if you've got a row counter or a ring counter. These things are, like I said, I can't do what I do without mine. I understand some people maybe can't afford one or they just don't want one. But if you've got a tally, that's okay. You can look at that and do the same thing. So here's the thing. Let's go back to just row 14 for just a minute. Let's say that we didn't finish row 15, that we were heading into our last round here. All right. On row 14, at the beginning of row 13, it's always one less than the row that you're on, that you're crocheting until you stop to the increase. In other words, when I began row 15, I had to crochet into the first 13 stitches because, see, I had completed 14. So 15 really isn't in the picture until we're done, but we have 14 on our tally counter. And so we know that going into the next row that we have to crochet one less than the row that we completed. So that means that I did 13 single crochets and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. 13 single crochets, 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and all the way around. All right, so that's the first hack that you should know. This is really simple. Once you understand the mathematics of it, you can make just anything that you need to make with a circle. Now remember, I said I would tell you about making, like, say, a placemat. So here we have our 15 complete rounds, and we are at about 11.5 inches, which is just where I want to be. All right, so if you measure it at different places, it should be about the same. I'm sorry, my husband just came home and my dog is having a little episode. She's so excited to see him. So pardon the barking there in the background, but that's where we're at. So if you want to make, like, say, like a 12-inch coaster or a 13, or not coaster, but a placemat, sorry, then you just keep building the rounds until you're done. And so with this one, because we've completed, the next round would be 14 single crochet stitches and then 2 single crochet stitches into the next for the increase, and you would continue increasing until you got to the circumference of the placemat that you want. Now, I did tell you I would help you finish this if you wanted to get the secrets to that. So here I have, like I said, I have completed round 15, and this is for the Beckett bag. So if I was done here, let's just say I was done. All right, I would come up on these last 2 stitches, and then I would just slip stitch those. So 2 stitches before the last stitch, I would just slip stitch. And what's going to happen there is that is going to decrease. See how that just decreased that bump? It's almost even. So then all you have to do is to finish it is to go ahead and slip stitch together that first and last stitch, and it will take that line right out. See, look at that. That's just amazing. And then I would finish it with a round of just single crochets, just so that it's the same number as the final stitch count. In other words, you increased and you got it to 90, but let's just do one round where we're not increasing, and that's just going to bring it all together and give you that nice round shape. All right, thank you for watching how to crochet a simple spiral circle. And for those of you that are going to stick around, we're going to go on with our Beckett bag. Here we are at the end of round 15 for our Beckett bag, and this is our base. I wanted to show you in this because I broke up the videos for this because I wanted to show people that wanted to know how to make a circle. So our Beckett bag has a base of 11.5 inches, and that's just perfect. All right, so here we are going to go into the first stitch of round 16. And round 16 is going to be a simple single crochet into the back loop all the way around. But the first thing I want to do is I just want to single crochet into this, and you'll see why we're doing that when we get to the end here. There's a reason for it. It's going to have a little bit of a space. There's going to be a line that we create when we go into the back loop with the single crochets. There's going to be a line, and what that does is that just turns the stitches toward the center to help us build the wall. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and then we'll meet back at the end of the row when we're done here. So the first is just a single crochet stitch like normal, and then into the next 89 stitches you're going to back loop only single crochet. Okay, and see, here's what's happening right off the bat. You can see that it's creating that excuse me, it's creating that ridge. And it's going to create that all the way around, which is going to turn in the wall to start helping form the wall of the bag or the sides of the bag. So for the back loop, there's our single crochet stitch. Normally, we would just go in like this. Okay, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go right into the back loop and single crochet. And that's it. Just single crochet into that back loop all the way around, and then I would like you to stop right before about right where there's 2 stitches before the first stitch, because I want to show you something. Here we are at the end, almost at the end, 2 stitches away from round 16 completion. So as you can see, here's that ridge that I was talking to you about, and you can see how that ridge, sorry, I was off camera there, that ridge that you can see that has helped turn these stitches toward the center of our piece. Now, here we are, because we're working in a spiral, this ridge is a little bit higher. Now, there's nothing you can do to make it come down here. I just want to be clear on that. But there is something that we can do to just make it not so obvious. So I said stop before the last 2 stitches and single crochet into the next stitch regularly. Don't do it with the, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead and single crochet into the back loop. All right. Now just go ahead and single crochet into that last stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch this last stitch of just this round only into this stitch. Okay, and that is still going to count. We're going to count that as our first stitch, but that just makes it less obvious, this ridge that we have going here from the back loop single crochets. Now the fun part, now the mindless part, right? Okay, so we've just completed row 16. Please go ahead and crochet, keep crocheting in the rounds of these 90 stitches, a regular crochet, in other words, crochet right into the space as the stitches you normally would, nothing not the same way. And then when you have hit 42 rows, we are going to come back and we are going to work on the handle integration. All right, I will see you back then. All right, this is so exciting. We're getting close to the end here, and it's starting to look like a bag, which is even more exciting, right? I can't believe that this is a circle. It always amazes me, like how you can turn a rectangle into a garment, and you can turn a circle into a bag. It's pretty amazing. All right, so like I said, we did our 42 rows. And now we are going to do a decrease row to bring the bag in to give it the shape that it'll be when it's done. So go ahead and start round 43 with a single crochet into that first space. So now the pattern is 4 single crochets and a decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 single crochets, and then insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. Stick your yarn into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, and you've gone through 2 stitches, and now you're going to yarn over and pull through all. This yarn is a little hairy. Sorry, I don't want to swallow that fiber there. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 single crochets, and then we're single crocheting 2 together. Let's do that one more time. 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, or 2 loops now. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and now you have 3 loops. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, continue doing this all the way around your bag, and we'll meet back at the end before you single crochet the last 2 stitches together. So again, we've got 4 single crochets, single crochet 2 together, 4 single crochets, single crochet 2 together. All right, I'll see you soon. All right, here we are almost at the end of round 43, and I said please stop before the last 2. So what we're going to do here is we're going to still do our single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches, and then we are going to carefully slip stitch this last new stitch, which is 2, but we've made it into 1, into the first stitch. But we want to make sure that we don't lose a stitch by doing that slip stitch. So now please place your stitch marker back into that stitch, and that is going to be stitch number 1 of round 44. All right, so going into round 44, we will now have 75 stitches. We decreased from 90 to 75. Okay, so what happened is, for some reason when I was recording the videos for this, I lost a segment. I don't know if I didn't push a button or whatever. But you can see from the video in the previous segment that I asked you to take, and for round 42, I asked you to crochet a round of single crochet. So now we have completed round 42, and we're going to go into our last round, which is round 43, but we're going to be starting it from a different point. All right, so here we've completed round 42, so please fasten off. And before you fasten off, I would like you to make sure that you slip stitch the last stitch of round 42 to the first stitch of round 42. And then please fasten off. Okay, next, this is the marker, which would be if we were going into round 43 from this point, this would be the first stitch. And I know it looks weird because it's moved over, but believe me, I have done this very carefully, and I have centered this appropriately, because you know when you're working around, your first stitch just keeps moving over. And then we had a decrease round 2, so we decreased by 10 stitches, so that was quite a bit. But yeah, or not 10 stitches, but I'm sorry, we decreased by, what did we decrease by? We decreased from 90 to 75, so that's 15 stitches. Okay, so now this is our first stitch, and what I want to do is I want to explain what we're doing here. What are these markers for? This is the back of the bag, and this is the front of the bag. This is the right side, this is the right side. So right now, the wrong sides of your bag are together. So looking at your bag toward you, again, this is the first stitch of, if we were going to do round 43 from here, it'd be the first stitch of round 43, but we're doing round 43 from here, and I'll explain that in a second. But so now I need you to carefully look at this, because we slip stitched the last round, the last 2 rounds actually, our stitch is just slightly off kilter here. It's over here. So what I want you to do is just notice right here, here's our stitch. So you need to count 1, 2, 3, okay? And then put your stitch marker in the 4th stitch on the left of this center stitch marker, off center stitch marker, whatever. Next, here you are again. So you're just going to count 1, and then you're going to place that stitch marker into the 2nd stitch from here. So what does this mean? Okay, this means that we have, it doesn't look like it, but there are actually 5 stitches here that are going to form the whole of the handle. So it's not, they're unworked, okay? Now count this one first, okay, and count up to 32 around, and place this stitch marker, which again is the front, okay, the front of the bag, place that front bag stitch marker into the 32nd stitch. And again, this counts as 1. So this is 1, and this is 32. All right, now skip 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and place the next stitch marker here. So we're going to have a total of 5 stitch markers, as you can see, and this would be in the 7th stitch from here. Okay, now I want you to understand why we're doing this. These 6 stitches right here are going to be what we're going to attach our ring to. These 5 stitches in between these are what is going to be the hole, and we're going to form our handle from here to here. So let's get started on this very fun part. Okay, flip your bag over. And now we're going to begin in this stitch marker right here. And we're just simply going to join our yarn. And please leave the stitch marker there. So yarn over and pull your yarn through, and then chain 1 Well, I'm going to leave it like that. Now go back into your stitch with a single crochet stitch. Okay, there we go. All right. And just move your stitch marker up just like you would so that you know what's going on. Now I want you to single crochet to the first marker that you come to, and yes, single crochet into that stitch, and that will be 32 stitches total. And please do yourself a favor like I do and just single crochet right over your tail. It's so lovely. Yep, I'll just do it with you real quick. See, look at that. No more tail. I hate tails. I don't know about you, but I just do. All right, I'm going to continue like you guys should with a single crochet stitch in each stitch up until this marker. And yes, again, single crochet into that marker. Okay, here we are. I single crocheted, and so should you, into that 32nd stitch. And then I moved my marker up to get ready for my handle. Okay, now please chain 20. So 1, and don't chain this too tight, okay? Not loosey-goosey. We don't want it hanging down when we go to put our next rows onto it, but we want it to be loose enough that we don't struggle when we're putting in the next row. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Wahoo! Okay, so see this stitch marker right here? Go ahead and take that out, but make sure you watch the stitch with your eye so you're putting this into the right one. All right, and then just join that chain into that same stitch. Now, put your marker back there. We won't really need it after this, but I just want you to make sure that you've got everything right. So for your own sanity, just put it in there one more time, and we'll be getting rid of these soon enough. So here we go. Okay, so we're at 1, so now we're going to do 2. And we're going to go again for 32 single crochet stitches up to that front marker that's on the opposite side. Okay, here we are in the right front stitch marker. And now we're going to have fun. We're going to join our ring. So just leave that stitch marker in there and just work right over it, and we'll take it out and put it back in because it's too difficult to do that right now. But put your ring just like this, okay? Just the top part of the ring, because that's the easiest way to do this, all right? Now we're going to go right into that next stitch, and we're going to just single crochet right around, okay? And then into the next stitch, single crochet, into the next stitch. And this is a little wonky, I'll admit, but you'll do fine. Just all you're doing is just single crocheting. You've just got an extra little roundabout thing to do here, but keep going. And you've got, again, you need 6 stitches because that's what we've got that's empty. So we've got 2 more. And you're also going to be pulling these in toward the center. So make sure you don't split your yarn. And we've got 1 more here. All right, we did it. So now we have just done 6 single crochet stitches around our ring. And now we are going to start row 1. That was our last round. In the written pattern, what I did was I broke this into sections. So I've got this part, this last round that we did, as round 1 of the ring and handle section. So just know that that's what I'm referring to when I stopped counting, like up until the 40s. Now we just did round 1 of that section, and now we're just going to be working in rows, no more rounds. So I want to join this, I want to go into this first one of this 32 stitch count here before we get to our chain. So I just want to make sure that you get this kind of, what I did here was, if you don't do this, it's going to have a hole, and this is the front of your bag. You don't want that. So I'm going to make sure that I've got, yeah. So what I did was this is just a little hack that I do sometimes when I've got a space like this. I just come down and just pull up a loop from the previous row, and then I just go in, and it's a little wonky, but you can do it. Take your marker out because you won't need that probably anymore. You won't. And then just go ahead and pull it through so that everything just comes up. And there you go. Okay, I'm going to pull that out. I know it's a little tight, but you can do it. All right, so now we're into that first stitch of the 32 that we've got to do. So now we're in number 2. Okay, and like I said, it's going to be a little tight, but see, after that, we're all good to go. So just now continue around and finish out your 32 stitches, which will be in this marker here. And I'm just going to go ahead, and if I can find mine, good heavens, where did it go? All right, I'm going to get off camera for just, oh, here it is. All right, I just wanted to make sure that I got this stitch here because, yeah, it's this one right here. All right, this is important. So just put your marker back into that first stitch because we're now into the second one. And then, like I said, just go ahead and single crochet into each stitch to the first marker that you come to. Okay, before I go into this, I want to show you that here I am at that stitch marker, which is the 32nd stitch that I'm getting ready to crochet into, and I am going to take this marker out and I'll put it back in. But okay, there we go. So that was the 32nd stitch, and yes, I'm going to put the marker in because I think this might help as we get into it. But this is where it's very important that we pay attention to what we're doing. So here you can see this is the first chain here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to work into these back loops. And I thought about this, you guys, and if you disagree with me, then please put a comment nicely, of course, into the section below for comments, because I really struggled with how to rate this pattern. It's easy until it gets to this part, and then this part is just a little, it's just a little complicated. So I decided to mark this as an intermediate pattern. If you think it's an easy pattern, let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. Okay, now you can see the chains that we did. This is the top right here. Okay, but we're going to work into these back loops like we always do, just so that everything looks nice and neat. So we've got, remember, we've got 20, so let's make sure that we're in the right loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so I'm off by 1, and it's a good thing that I checked. Yes, okay, here it is right here. Okay, so here's my first back loop. So I'm just going to go into that back bump or back loop, whatever you call it, and I am going to crochet 25 single crochets because that's how many we've got. And again, I'm sorry if this is a little inconvenient, but trust me when I tell you that your bag will look so flawless if you do this, because look at how that is. See, you've got that nice beautiful finish and you didn't even finish it. So now it's going to look like a excuse me, a single crochet all the way around. So just go ahead and put those 25 single crochets into your back bump of each stitch on this chain. I just completed my single crochet over the 25 chains, and then I went right into that first stitch of the next 32, the side stitches. So I want to talk about an adjustment here. I am so not a tight crocheter. You guys can probably see it if you've watched a lot of my videos. I am just not a tight crocheter, but I understand that some people are. So if you're a tight crocheter, if I were you, I would add 2 chains to this count, just because it might be, with me, it's going to stretch, and I don't want this. This handle has to be kind of snug. Otherwise, this bag just isn't going to look the way it's supposed to. So if you are a tight crocheter and you have really, like, that's how you crochet, cool. Please add 2 more stitches to the chain. Make it 22 instead of 20. Originally, I had 25 and it was just way too big. It was like the bag was not doing what it was supposed to do. Okay, so go ahead and finish out row 1 of the handle and ring, and we'll get into what we're going to do here at the wooden ring. I just finished into my 32nd stitch from this stitch marker in the back, which is one side, and now we're going to continue in rows. So technically, let's go ahead and flip our row counter and say that we've completed row 1 of the handle and ring. Now I want you to take your yarn and pull it forward. Okay? Next, turn your bag, because we're doing a new row here. Now, once I do this slip stitch, I'm going to take this this marker out and then put it back into this. But for right now, it's just too hard. I don't want to, like, if I skip a stitch, then I'm screwed. So excuse me for saying that, but it's true. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my ring, just like I did before when we attached it. I'm going to yarn over, okay, and I'm going to pull through a slip stitch. Now here I am, my yarn is in the center of this ring. I need it to be over here. So I'm going to take this stitch marker out now, because that's that. And now you can see right here, this is the 32nd stitch, because here's our slip stitch right here from the previous row. So we're just going to go right back into that and single crochet. And I'm going to show you, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do it on this side, because we're going to do this quite a few times. We're going to do 4 rounds or 4 rows of this single crochet stitch, working a slip stitch into the ring. And then we're going to see how wide our handle is. I might want to add 1 more row, but we'll take a peek and see where we're at. And you can also determine for yourself at that point if it's something that you want to do. But what you did there is you slip stitched it so it pulled it through once, and then because we wrapped it around, it wrapped it around twice. So this handle is going to be very secure by the time that we're done with it. So now you need to do all of your stitches back around the bag, around the handle, back over to this. So now we had 75 stitches before, but we took away, excuse me, we took away 6. So that left us with 69, but we added 15. Because we only had 5 stitches here and we did 20 chains. So we actually added 15 stitches. So if you'll give me a minute in the next segment, I'll get my calculator just to make sure I'm being accurate here. But I'll give you, I believe it should be back to 74, but we'll see. I want to add it up because I'm a little flustered right now. Working with this ring at this angle is not easy, but I hope I'm presenting it in a way that makes sense. I know if I was sitting down, it would be a lot easier on me, but then you guys can't see what I'm doing. So, okay, go ahead and like I said, do your stitches all the way around. You do your 32 here, your 32 here, and that's Janet, hello. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we've got 32 stitches here and we've got 32 stitches here, which is 64, and we have 20, so that's actually 84. All right, I just solved the mystery myself, and my math was off a little bit, but I'll see you guys when we're back here and we've completed row 2 of the handle and ring. Here we are at the end of row 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit my clicker. And now we're going to do the same thing. We were crocheting on the wrong side because we're in a row. So just go ahead and pull your yarn forward and turn your bag. And that's my dog, my Frenchie. She's just a little, she's crazy. We love her to pieces, but she's a rescue, and she has her neurotic moments. Let's just say that. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did over here. We brought our yarn to the front when we were on this side, which is to the back, which is where it needs to be. And now we're going to slip stitch into the ring and then bring our yarn here, take our marker out. I am leaving these 2 markers in. I took my back markers out because honestly, I don't need them anymore. You can make that determination, you know, however you want. But I slip stitch, and now I'm going to go into that first row, or first stitch, I'm so sorry to say. I don't know what I'm doing here, but let me get it right. Okay. All right. So there we go. And that's just a single crochet. And I want to make sure that I mark that, guys, because this gets a little tight right in here where we're making our slip stitches and our attaching. But you can see it's like this part was, you know, the single crochet, but now it's going to start developing into these wraparounds, which I just absolutely love. Okay, so go ahead and single crochet all the way around your bag once again, and we will completed row 3, and you will end up right here, right back at that stitch marker. Right, here we are at the end of row 3. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull my yarn forward, going to turn my bag, watch that stitch marker, I'm going to secure my stitch, and then I'm going to bring it around, and I'm going to insert my hook into the center, yarn over, which also yarns over on the ring, and do my slip stitch. Now I'm back here, so I'm going to pull my yarn to the left, and we do this every time. This is nothing new now. And we are starting row 4. I'm going to keep using my stitch markers. These stitches around this ring get a little tight, and I just want to make sure that I've got my 32 stitches on both sides and then my 20 for the handle. So go ahead and single crochet into each stitch around, and then we are going to be able to decide how we want to proceed. If we want to put another row, you can put as many rows of this as you want. It's no big deal. For me though, I gotta be honest with you guys, this is not a lightweight bag. This is a heavy bag. This thing weighs, it's substantial, and I'm thinking about maybe even making it like into, because I did this for my glamping series, I'm even thinking about making it in a yarn tote for travel, because it would just, think about this. It's got this, you know, right here, so we could just, you know, pull our yarn through and keep our project all nice and neat. All right, go ahead and continue and come back and hit that last stitch on this side, and we'll slip stitch to join, and we'll see where we're at with our handle. Yay, we are now at the end of row 4, so we're going to click our ring counter, and I'm going to show you what this looks like with 4 rows. And I have to clean up my bag because of course I had a yarn change here, so yeah, that's not convenient right on the handle, but I'll fix it. Okay, so there's 4 rows. What do you think? The answer to my question is, oh no, I'm doing 5. I don't like it. It doesn't look substantial enough for this bag. So I'm going to do 5, and I'll meet back here and show you what it looks like at 5. But thank you for doing this pattern with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know it was a little challenging, but if we don't challenge ourselves from time to time, then, you know, what the heck? I mean, I have to say, I never wake up and say to myself, I want this super complicated crochet pattern that I'm going to have to work on for 4 weeks in order just to get it done. No, that's not me. I like quick and done and one and done, and I'm on to the next project, and I'm just, you know, a whip person just as much as anybody else is. But this particular bag was in my dreams. I just couldn't stop thinking about it, and I wanted to get it out. And I've seen it before in, you know, different variations, but for me, I really wanted to do with this wooden ring. So I hope you guys like that, and we'll see you on the next project. Okay, I just completed row 5, and I have to tell you, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say that this is over by any stretch of the means. I want this handle to be more substantial. I told you I dreamt about this bag, and this handle, it's not enough for me. It's not wide enough. And I know now, after getting 5 on here, what I have to do. Isn't this beautiful though? Gosh almighty. But I'm going to put 2 more rows on this. So when you see the final bag, you'll see the photos of it and everything, and just know that it has, in the written pattern, will also have 7 rows back and forth, you know, between the ring. But you decide what you want. When you're ready, you just need to fasten off here and just weave your tail. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. As of this video, I have not named this bag yet. I'm leaning toward the Beckett bag, but I'm not real sure on that, so you'll know everything when I'm done. I really do want to thank you so much for coming along this journey with me on this bag, and I know it was a little challenging, but I'm just so excited for you to use it. Please don't forget to tag me on social media. Just use the hashtag BDD Patterns. Beckett, we're going to go with Beckett, B-E-C-K-E-T bag. And I hope I can see some finished Beckett bags, and let me know what you use it for. I'm going to use this for a project bag. I'm super excited about it. All right, you guys, take care, and you have a blessed day.